And now, Mrs JSpire.
Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Feel Up Friday. Happy Feel Up Friday live. Welcome to the Jaspirations live show and our Feel Up Friday live segment. I am so excited to have you all tonight. If you are new to Jaspirations Live, welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hello in the chat and let us know that you are here. If you have watched us before, welcome back. If you're catching the live, thank you for watching. And if you are catching the replay, thank you for doing that. You can still be sure to like, to love, to share, and to comment. So if you are new, you may be wondering, well, what is Jaspirations Live and what is Fill Up Friday? So Jaspirations Live is a motivational movement. It is a motivational podcast where we come together to talk about we talk about things that matter and we talk up with real people. So it's real conversation, real talk, and real people. We have several different segments that's kind of been on hiatus for a moment, but we're in the process of working to bring some of those segments back. We have Saturday sit downs. We also have Men Talk Too. And we also have Crying or Laughing, We Talking. So that is one of our comedy segments. So just excited to bring all of those things back to you all. And then you may be wondering, well, what is Fill Up Friday Live? Well, Fill Up Friday Live is a time where we come together to fill each other up. Um, if you're like me, during the week, you're working, you're parenting, you're moving, you're shaking, you're doing lots of different things. And by the end of the week, you are tired. And sometimes we end the week filled up, and sometimes we end the week feeling a little empty or not as full as we would like to be. And so we come on Friday nights to talk, to hang out, to see what we filled up on. If you come empty, we hope that by the end of the show that you are full. And if you come full, we hope that you come in and you fill someone else up as well. So, hello, Lucy. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to talk about tonight, and I want to give a few more people some time to come on. But as you come in, go ahead and drop into the comments what you filled up on this week. Drop into the comments how you're feeling. If you're not feeling 100%, let us know that too, as well. We want to be able to fill up. Also, I am going live with StreamYard here on Facebook. And so they're doing something a little different. So I'm not quite sure um, what this is that's popping up on my screen that I'm not wanting to share. Um, but it's almost like it's making me share to be able to see. What's coming up next. So I apologize that it shared that, but what it's saying is that if you're new to StreamYard or you're looking to level up, you can check out the stream here and be able to get a discount. So I am not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not like saying do this with StreamYard or whatever, but however, that's what's popping up on the screen. So I do apologize for that. So Lucy said, if okay, I'm not sure what you're saying, Lucy, but Don says hello. Thank you. I'm not quite sure what this is and why this link is popping up here, but we'll figure it out. But so anyway, hey Don. So I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to talk about tonight. I was thinking, this week has been a little heavy for me, and so I didn't really post. I actually didn't post at all, and I didn't realize that I didn't post until I was thinking tonight about, like, what am I going to talk about tonight with the faithfuls, and what are we going to share? How are we going to fill up? So I wanted you all to bring your topics and to bring your questions as well. So if you have any topics or you have any questions or anything you really want to talk about tonight, go ahead and begin to drop it into the comments. And while I wait for, some more folks to come on and for some people to drop any questions or comments in, I will share. So last week, I was in a staff meeting, and my supervisor, we were doing just some team building, and she started to really talk to us about thinking about what our why is, right? WHY. And as she was asking me that question, like, what is your why? Why do you do this job? Why is it important to you? What makes, what's the why that makes you, keep going when it comes to, what we do? And really asking us, if someone asks you, what do you do for work? How do you explain it? What do you say? And so when I talked about what I do for work, it was like, wow, I felt like I wasn't quite sure. Like, of course I know what I do, but sometimes putting things in words, right? And we were all talking and we were all saying something just a tad bit different, but it was the same. But then when it got to our why, we were like all shocked because it wasn't as easy to really start writing down or sharing really what that why is, even though I definitely know what my why is, because when you're doing things, there's times when you're frustrated, there's times when you're questioning yourself, you're questioning what you're doing, you're questioning why you're doing it. And you're just trying to figure things out. And so I was thinking, like, what is my why? So we all started just kind of, writing those things down and really just talking about it. And we all realized that some of our whys were really the same. And so, I went on through my week. And then today I was working a career fair at one of the elementary schools. And when some of the kids came to our table, they were asking us questions about our careers and what we do and what we needed to have for education. And one of the questions that a lot of the kids asked was, why did you choose this? And I thought that was so ironic, because even at this young age, and there were several questions that they could ask that was written down in the book, but they could choose what questions they wanted to ask us. And a lot of them came and was asking, why did you choose this career? Why did you choose your job? And I started it just started like flowing out of my mouth. I really didn't have to think about it. I was telling the kids, I love people. I love to meet new people. I love to educate. I love to share. And I was telling them, because of some of the things that I've gone through, and my coworker was saying this too, because of some of the things that we have gone through, we want to be able to pay it forward. We want to be able to be that resource or be that person to be able to educate and to provide a safe space. And that was just it seemed like it was so important, not only for me to be able to say that and be genuine about it, but you should have seen those kids' faces when we answered the question that way. And then yesterday, I was some other place talking to some teens, and sometimes with teens, they just like us too, but as adults, we see it differently when we're talking to teens or we're interacting with teens. But um, sometimes they're happy when I walk into the door. Sometimes they're happy when I leave. But yesterday, I just felt like imparting something in them on like a personal level, right? Not just educating them about the topic that we were talking about, but I shared with them that of some of the things that they have encountered, I encountered it too. Some of the things that they're going through, I may have gone through it too. And that just because I stand up in front of them and I share and I'm teaching with them, it doesn't mean that I'm not human. It doesn't mean that I haven't gone through some of the same things that they have gone through, and that this is my reason, this is my why that I do this. And you should have seen their faces. Some of the kids who may play around or may not appear to be interested, when they heard what I was saying, it's like they made a connection with me. And so I want to impart in you tonight to understand that life is about connection. And when we come on JSpirations Live or even other podcasts that you may listen to, it's about connection. It's about the mission of what the mission of JSpirations Live is to have real conversation with real people, right? And for us to have real talk, because it's that real talk that's going to connect us. It's that real talk that's going to let people know that you're not just talking at them, right? But that you're talking to them, and that some of the things that they experienced, you experienced too. And you being able to like stand there, you being able to talk, to share, to be transparent. And even sometimes if they don't want you to be there, that it's a good thing, that it's a connection that's happening, that you may not feel right then, that they may not feel right then, but a day later, 2 years later, 5 years later, when they're going through something, or even when they're talking through what they've already gone through, because we know that trauma happens, right? And that we shouldn't minimize it, but that those connections that we don't even know that we made, that they are strong, that they are needed, right? They're needed for people to do just what we say, to understand that they don't have to do life alone. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you all today, that those connections that we make, some of those connections are not by happenstance. Some of those connections are not like oopsies, right? Some of those connections are divine. Some of those connections are things that people, God brings people into our lives to be, so they can really see us, that they can really hear us, that they can really listen, and vice versa, so that we can know that connections are needed. And even on the, a teenage level, that people aren't just talking at you. Like tonight, someone could pop on and say, well, she's just talking. But if you really listen and not just hear, then you'll understand that the conversations that we have, that they are so meaningful. And so even when I don't want to get on because I'm tired, or maybe I'm empty from the week, the conversations that I have with you all, I know that I'm connecting with you all for a reason. Whether it's 25 people on, whether it's 4 people on, whether it's one person that's on, or whether it's one person that catches that replay, right? That the conversation that we're having, that it's important, and that connections are important. So Lucy dropped one question, and she said, I would like for someone to expand on I've got your back. Well, okay. Well, I know you've been following me. So one of the things that you have probably heard me say is, I don't want people to be in my corner. I want people to be in my circle. And because when I think about a corner, I think about a square, I think about a box, I think about a rectangle. And in those spaces, or you can kind of go and you can stand wherever you want to, and you're kind of just back up in a corner, right? You're in the corner. And so, and when you're in the corner, most of the time people can't get behind you because you're in the corner. But when we think about being in a circle, right? People are able to maneuver a little more in the circle. So if I'm going through something, you can come and you can actually you can make a circle around me. There's more space for people to be able to support you. So I feel like people that are in your circle, they have your back. And what having your back means, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with something that someone's doing, right? You don't have to necessarily be in a line with their decision. You don't have to be in agreement with the choice that they have made, regardless of what it is, whether it's a lifestyle, whatever it is. You don't necessarily have to be in agreement, but you can be in support support of them, not the situation, but in support of them. And it means that I'm going to be there. As long as I'm physically able to be there, I'm going to be there. So having your back, for some, it could mean financially, and that may just be the space that they're supposed to be taking up. For some, it could just mean emotionally, right? I'm going to have your back. I'm there to listen, right? I'm there to support you, right? You may not even be able to change or assist that person in the situation or the issue, but you're just there for them. Sometimes being there with them and sitting in silence, sometimes going with them wherever they need to go, whether it's court or it's the hospital, even though you can't make a decision, but sometimes it's just that support. So for me, having a person's back is just saying that I am going to be there, right? That if I'm physically able to be there, or even if I'm not, maybe I'm on the phone, maybe I'm just a listening ear, but I'm going to be there for you and I'm going to support you through this. I know for me, early on, some years ago, one of my best friends, she did not agree with the choice that I was making. But when I needed her to be there, she was there for me, letting me know I don't agree with this, right? I don't agree with the choice that you're making. She was very outspoken about it, very vocal about it. But in spite of that, she was still there for me. And so that's what means having your back. And also having your back, it means being vocal and being honest about how you feel, and what's taking place, but still being there for that person to be able to support them, right? Wholeheartedly, genuinely, right? With no strings attached. Um, because you only know what you're able to do. You don't know what someone else is going to be able to do. And knowing if someone is going to have your back, your hope is that they are. Like, I know I have a group of friends that I'm like, I know they got my back, right? They're vocal. They're going to tell me what they tell me, but I know they got me back. As the saying says, if I'm rocking, if you're rocking, I'm rolling, or if I'm rocking, you're rolling. And I have a group of friends like that I know if I'm rocking, they're rolling. If you see me, you see them. It doesn't even mean all the time that most of the time they're seeing my vision, of things I want to do or things I'm saying, or they're supporting the vision. But then there's been times where they don't. They may say, Joe Sean, I don't even know how that's going to work. Or are you sure that's a good idea? But they're still going to be there. They're still going to have my back. Or maybe they can't help me prep. They can't help me prepare for it. But when the time comes, they're still there. And Lucy, like I'm saying, I don't know what's going on with all of this. I can't see all of I know that you said something else. So I'm just going to post so I can get to the next. I can see it coming up here. You said that sounds real good. So yeah, sometimes you just, it's just being there for a person. Um, even with for people that's watching, like, that's my mom. And I know, she hasn't always agreed with, decisions I've made or things I've done, but it hasn't stopped her from having my back. So Lucy, you should know more than anybody what that means. Having someone's back, even though you may not, agree with them. And so we have to learn how to separate the person's situation from the person. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any topics? And this is, kind of how I want to do this a little more, with you all bringing your topics, you all bringing your questions, you all giving your input. I love to talk, and I can talk and talk and talk, right, with the best of them. But I'm starting to learn as well. And I know I've said it before, and I'm not going to be silent, but sometimes the less I talk, it gives other people the opportunity to share their feelings and share their thoughts and really just give some input on what's happening, because it's Fill Up Friday. And although I want you all to leave full if you came empty, well, I want you guys to pour into me as well. And I want you all to be able to pour into each other. So Dawn, I know that you are here. Dawn is very resourceful, and Dawn always has a lot of good information to share. She has good topics. I can't get her to show her face on this here video at all in all these years. So you all that are part of the faithfuls as well, I need y'all to be able to help me to inspire her and encourage her to come on with some topics. She is full of knowledge. And she's also on the board for JSpiration's Live. So I need her to be able to show her face as well. But I mean, if you all don't have, questions or topics that you want to talk about tonight, that's fine. But I want you to be thinking about it for next Friday night. Um, she always talking about that camera. Well, we'll have to get in the same place so that you can come on. Your camera works on your phone, ma'am. But yeah, like, so tonight I just really want you all to think about, what really think about those connections. JY just popped on, and um JY, I'm going to see. I'm just putting things. I'm telling you, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. I'm going to try to financial discipline. Woo! All right. So that is not something that I can talk about. Even though I'm getting better and better. But if that is a topic that you're interested in, then I will definitely start to look into someone that will be able to come on and talk about some of those things. It's crazy because I'm probably as cheap as they come. Um, my family tells me that. Um, I'm just as cheap as they come. Um, and financial discipline, and doesn't mean I can't talk about it because I'm not there yet. Because sometimes the only way that you can get there is to be able to talk about it. But financial discipline is, and that may be something that Lucy can talk about. But really, just being able to purchase what you need, and not just things that you want. Not that you deprive yourself of things, but that you kind of look at what priorities are, right? Making sure that you take care of what you have to take care of, and then treating yourself sometimes, but not necessarily um, making this something that you do irresponsibly. But like I said, that's not my lane, so I'm not going to drive in it. I'm going to get back in the right lane because I'm definitely not in the left lane there. But I will look for someone to talk about that as well, because I think that's something that all of us need. And one of the things I do for work is I am able to talk about like the 8 dimensions of wellness and how we take care of ourselves. And oftentimes we think about just that physical part, but financial wellness is very important. We all know that if our finances aren't right, that could bring on a lot of stress. In other areas of our lives. It could bring upon fear. It could bring, anxiety. And it can even make us not feel well physically, right? And emotionally. It plays on our mental health when we feel like we're not financially stable and we're not able to take care of things that we need to. So that is one of the dimensions of wellness, and that's something that we can talk about. Don says that's good topic. And Don may be able to talk about that. Auntie, are you still on here? I saw you pop on. All right, y'all got anything else? Lucy always has topics. One of the things she wanted to talk about was opinions. And so I didn't want to talk about that tonight, but that's something that we can talk about as well. All right, so I'm going to let you all go tonight, but I want to remind you and encourage you to think about the connections that you are making, right? Even tonight, just thinking about the connections that we have made with JSpirations Live. I've met people through this podcast. And when they come on, you would think that I really know them, because some of those connections have been divine. Some of those connections have been people that I needed in my life at that moment, people that I needed to, for them to share things with me and impart things into my life to be able to encourage me. Um, and I've done the same for them, right? Or for other people. And so I never thought, honestly, that Jspirations would help me make some of those connections that I needed. Even some of just the quick conversations that I've had with people, asking them to come on the show. Some of those interviews have produced, long lasting relationships. Going back to JY, she's a friend of my sister, and met her many moons ago, right? And it was pretty much like, oh, that's my sister's friend. Well, now she's not just my sister's friend. She's my friend and she's family, right? And I didn't know she existed in this world. She didn't know I existed in this world. But when the time was right, there was a connection that she made with my sister, which allowed the connection with my family. And so there's been days in my life, times in my life where she's been right there, right? And I didn't know that I would meet her at that time, because you don't know what those things, that things are going to happen in your life, right? And then you're going to need that person that you didn't even know existed in the world, right? So the connections are strong, and they can be positive and sometimes not so positive. And so what I'm learning is you use what you can use, and the other things you can't use, you don't make a big deal about it being there, or whether it came in as something negative or positive. You put it to the wayside, you let it go, and you keep moving, and you use what you can use. um and then maybe some things you'll be able to use later, and maybe some things you'll never be able to use, though it wasn't a good connection. It is just like with Wi-Fi. Depending on where you are and what's going on, sometimes there's a good connection, sometimes there's not. When there's good connection, you use it, you search, you do whatever you need to do. And then when there's not a good connection, you just have to wait. You have to wait until you get into another space where the connection is good, right? You have to wait. And so for some of us, we meet people 40 something years into our lives, and you're thinking, well, where have you been all my life? Right? Like I felt like I needed you before. Well, you wasn't in the place where you really needed that person, but now you are. Right? Because those is that strong connection. You know how sometimes you can plug in an appliance and it trips something, right? Because it's too powerful. But then, you may move to another house or another apartment, or you may plug it in somewhere else, and it's just right. So sometimes you have to, sometimes it's going to be that connection, sometimes it's not. But when there is a connection, just know that it is purposeful. Um, so hold on, Jay Watt. Let me see what you have right here. Can't see all of this stuff. I don't know why I'm having to do this tonight, but I'm having a hard time seeing. Oh, thank you. You've definitely been a blessing to me. But so think about your connections. Think about the circle versus the corner. Think about who you're connected to, who has your back, right? Who's making that circle and that support around you, because that's what you need. When you're backed up into a corner, sometimes when you're backed up into a corner, you'll take anything, you'll take anybody, you'll take any help, right? You'll take anybody that says that they have your back, right? You'll do what you think you need to do. But when people are in your circle, like, they don't just connect with you, right? Where it's like they're alienating you or it's just you. when people are really in your circle, then they are genuine about connecting with the other people that are already surrounding you. Those other people that you're already connected to, they're genuine about holding your hand and providing that support, right? It just doesn't have to be about them. Like those are the people that have your back, the people that want to genuinely connect with the people that's already there, that has your back to provide that support, to provide that foundation, to provide that, if you ever did some team building at work, and one of the things is, you stand in the front and then somebody stands behind you, and you're comfortable enough falling back knowing that they're going to catch you. Listen, man, when you're in a corner, you'll fall back and just hope that anybody will catch you. But when you're in a circle, then you know that either way that you fall, that somebody that loves you, somebody that support you is going to be there to have your back. And even if that one person, if somebody is not strong enough in that circle to be able to hold you, y'all know I don't like that word strong, but if somebody in that circle, they don't have enough strength at that time, then you know the other people that's in the circle, they're going to connect with them to be able to hold you. So now they're not just holding you, they're holding that other person. Man, circles and connections are strong. Stay out of the corners. Corners push you back, push you back, push you back, push you back. But circles allow you to move around in that circular motion. And regardless of what part of the circle you go in, if you fall, it's somebody there to catch you, right? It's somebody there to rub your back. It's somebody there to connect in your hands and hold your hands. So stay in the circle. Ask God to give you a circle that's going to help provide strength, that's going to help provide a solid foundation. Ask God to put people around you that's genuine. People that have your best interest, people who intervene and intercede and seek God on your behalf, right? That's praying for your strength, that's praying for your joy, that's praying for your healing, right? Man, I could go on, but circles are good, and being around people that have your back. So I love you guys. I love you guys. Lucy, I saw that you said something, but I'm trying to see. Seeking in other directions are good. Yep. And that's that circle around and being able to go around that circle. But most of the time when you're in a corner, man, the only thing that usually happens is either someone or yourself or your thoughts, right? They push you back into that corner. We're not going backwards, right? We're going forward. That is the purpose. All right. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your words of motivation and inspiration. Thank you for rocking with us. Make sure you like this video, you share it. And next Friday, bring somebody with you. It's virtual, so it's easier to bring somebody with you. Bring somebody with you next week to fill up Friday Live. We're going to have some good conversation because we always have good conversation. It's always meaningful. It's always motivational. It's always inspirational. And we know that is always Jspirational. So join me, Mrs JSpire, next week, Friday, right here at the same place at the same time. I love you guys. Do something fun this weekend. Do something that fills you up. Give somebody a smile if you see someone without one. And as always, be Jspired.